Winter Classic jerseys revealed. Lineups and injuries updated. Petey breaking down video. It's all next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Hump Day. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Nate's here running the show. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate that. Do us a favor if you're watching us on YouTube right now or later. Hit the like button for us and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. Follow, subscribe, all that good stuff on your favorite podcast app. And take a few seconds to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Lots to get to today and only an hour to do so. Winter Classic uniforms, lineups, injuries, all that stuff. We're going to hear from Petey in the second half of the show. He's going to give us a breakdown of both Blackhawks goals. So stick around for that. Petey is always the best part of our show because he's not us. So let's start with the uniforms.
Jeez, thanks.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, you know, the guy is good looking, knows hockey. That's two more things than I got going for me.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
Yeah, see? Right, exactly. And it'll be good to relive some of the better moments from last night's game.
Yeah,
because
when we thought we might win that game.
Yeah, there have not been a lot of super positive moments, but both goals last night were pretty sick. So we'll get some video breakdowns of what worked, and maybe they can apply that over 60 minutes instead of over 20 minutes. That would be good.
I'd settle for 45 right now.
Sure.
Baby steps.
45 like that's probably a win last night.
35. Be better than the other team for the majority of the game. Like, that's a baby
30-01.
Yeah, give me that.
30-0-1.
30 by 30. 30 minutes, 30 seconds.
30 for
There
30.
you go.
The game. There
Done.
you go.
What if I told you that one time the Blackhawks won a game?
I kind of remember that. All right, we do have the Winter Classic jerseys to get to. Now, these are the ones that leaked a while ago, but now we're seeing the entire layout, the jerseys, the gloves, the pants. Is it weird that I'm most excited about the pants?
No, it's not.
That Blackhawks logo on the right leg,
The script.
or the left leg?
It's like kind of like script Blackhawks-ish.
Yeah. I will definitely
like
be
it.
buying a hoodie with that on it.
I think there is a hoodie with that on it. Yeah, they rolled out all their merch on their site and everything. But yeah, I mean, the jerseys, they look good as the full set. My one concern was that they were going to do that like fake leather brown with the pants. They did it with the gloves, but the pants are going to be black. So I think that's pretty good. You see there on your screen there pictures and the details from Fanatics. I like it. As you know, when we saw the leak, what was that, this summer that happened?
It was pretty, maybe
it was
July or August.
before the season. Yeah. We saw the leak. It was, it was the red design that Jay, you had been clamoring for. And it's not too far deviated from like their normal look with the red, the black and the white stripes. It's just kind of has like a more old school feel. I like it. It's different than having it be the red jersey. It's different than any outdoor design that they've had. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I love that view. The tomahawk C's on the arms, and then the numbers above it. It's really cool. They did a great job. We've never had a red outdoor game jersey, so it was long overdue. It was an easy call, I think. And then like the little details, like the 4 stars there on the crest. Obviously, that's the shout out to the Chicago flag.
Yep.
And lots of cool stuff. And I know a lot of people are saying the Blues jerseys are boring and blah 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 and all that stuff. I like the Blues jerseys. Sometimes
They don't look
simple
bad.
is good. Like, yeah, they could have done a little like more flash, but I like the color, like that.
It's hard to mess up that color scheme.
And then I'm a big fan of the old school jerseys with the stripe, the horizontal stripe across the middle with the. I love that look. I was a big fan when the Predators did that for their when they played in Dallas a couple years ago. I loved that look too.
Mm-hmm.
To me, simple is good. I don't need crazy colors. I don't need whatever the hell the Ducks were wearing last night.
Orange.
Too much orange.
Orange and gold.
Who
Beautiful. What a
that
combo.
Was a good idea. That just everything about that last night was bad. And the uniforms suck too. But the Blues jerseys are simple. They're simple. And simple jerseys for a simple team.
Simple fan base.
Yeah, I think it fits for the Winter Classic vibe. Like
the
like Stadium Series games is where you're probably see the more imaginative jerseys over the years.
Futuristic jerseys.
Yeah, but the Winter Classic it's supposed to kind of tap back into that classic feel.
Well, you should know tomorrow we're going to get a big hands-on with the jerseys. The Blackhawks Executive Vice President of Brand and Marketing, Jerry Ferguson, will be here.
Favorite.
We're going to record a video with him. We're going to actually hold the jerseys, get close-up photos, give you a really in-depth, because a couple of people are asking, like, are the colors more cream or white or whatever? We're going to hold them. We're going to take high-res pictures of them and publish them. That should be out in the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow before the game. So we're not going to be live for it, but it'll be pre-recorded, and you'll be able to get a very, very good, non-artistic camera shot of the jersey. We'll just use actual colors and get a real detailed look. What I like about it is the wool letters like they had for the 2019 Winter Classic, where it's not just the typical, flat and matte letters where it's got that woolly, like sweater sort of a material to it. I think they knocked it out of the park with these. I do like the leather gloves. I'm with you on the pants. I wouldn't have liked if they did the brown pants, but the brown gloves look cool. It does make it look like a throwback, which is what they're going for. So, yeah, and St. Louis's, they're not offensive. They're just kind of, if I was a Blues fan, I wouldn't be popping $300 for one of those.
I might, though.
Probably not.
I might.
Yeah?
But if I was a Blues fan, never mind. I'm not going to go down that road.
The Blues are starting to get into the territory of the Blackhawks, where they've had a lot of outdoor game designs.
Yeah.
This is their 4th outdoor game? 2 of them have been against Chicago.
This will be their 2nd against the Hawks.
Yeah. Didn't they play one against Minnesota?
Did they? Was that a Winter Classic? Yeah, that was the one that was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
The Twin Stadium. Yeah, I do believe that was them. So it's at least their 3rd.
At least their 3rd.
Yeah. By the way,
we have news.
Blackhawks. I'm a size 60 in a hockey jersey, just in case you're wondering. Just put that out in the universe.
I forget what size I am. Large. Drew Comezzo is heading back to the Ice Hogs. Petr Mrazek should be back then.
Yeah, that's what Luke said today. They expect to have Mrazek back today. So whatever the personal situation he was dealing with is over. But yeah, Comezzo was there practicing. Already back to Rockford. He's got his online order of beefaroo ready to go.
Nice.
Getting ready to jump on a plane and head to the Austin, Texas area for the weekend against the Stars, the Texas Stars.
Speaking of buying jerseys, Mario, we were looking at this before practice today.
Mm-hmm.
They're selling the premiums. And what was the price we found for if you want to get the actual
if you want to
on
get
ice jersey?
On ice jersey from Fanatics with a player on it that is not Nick Foligno or Connor Bedard, it is going to run you
so
they don't have those in the players. So if you want a authentic jersey that Fanatics is offering, that is what the players wear. If it's blank, it's $450. If you want a player, it's $550. If you want Seth Jones or Connor Murphy or Nick Foligno, where a letter is also on it, it's $560.
And your firstborn son.
Yes.
So
I'm good.
I mean that's
now that is
that's what you run
ice.
into
Right.
with that's what you run into with hockey jerseys. They are very expensive. Even saying $280 for a authentic, quote unquote, second level authentic jersey, that is still a lot of money. Like it's just what you're going to run into,
especially
with
for
hockey jerseys,
and not only a hockey jersey, but a unique jersey that's only going to be worn once.
Yeah.
So there's that as well.
But just so people understand, the $450 blank, $550 lettered jersey, that is what the players wear on the ice.
Right.
Fanatics also offers a Pro Stitch Premium, which is the equivalent of what Adidas was selling as Authentics.
Right.
That's $300 with Bedard or Foligno on it.
280.
I'm looking at it here. It says 300.
It was okay.
It's already gone up.
Yeah, maybe they're raising it as it goes. And then if you want the premium blank jersey and you want to get it lettered with a different name, it's an extra 100. So yeah, it looks like, yeah, you're right, Mario. It was 280 when we looked earlier.
So yeah, it's
I'm looking at it right now and it's 300.
Well, it's likely that's with there's two options to get it heat pressed with the numbers and the name, or you can get it stitched. That's where I think that's probably where the difference comes in. It'll be 280 with the heat press, 300 with the stitch.
So, and I'm looking here, the Bedard stitch jersey is sold out.
That's
completely.
That's why they're $300.
The Foligno jersey sold out completely.
Well, we will check.
You know who won't be sold out?
Plenty of TJ Brody jerseys available if you want one.
They're also available at the Blackhawks store.
I guarantee they will be there tomorrow.
They'll be there tomorrow.
I would think if they were smart, they'd be stocked.
Yes, they'll be ready to go. The whole wall of jerseys will be Winter Classics.
Maybe.
And you'll be ready to get them because
I'm not going in there.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who have one of these on their Christmas list this year.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that if you're ordering it customized, it takes a while for that to get shipped and made and gotten out to you from either Fanatics or from the Blackhawks shop, wherever you're getting it from.
Yeah, and they'll have to fix the spelling errors.
Maybe
on their second order.
But if you're talking about 4 to 6 weeks or more, like, you might not have the jersey for the game. So if you're in, if you have the means to get one in person, that's your best chance to try and have it for the game. Otherwise, you're kind of at the whim of shipping and handling.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, not much the Hawks can do about it, and some people are saying, like, this is too much for a last place team. Unfortunately, the cost of jerseys does not fluctuate with the
If you want to buy a Winnipeg Jets jersey, it's the exact same price.
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, they're sold out, so apparently people don't mind.
And they're gonna sell. That, like, people
say it's a good design. It's a novelty game. You put Bedard on a novelty jersey.
It's the first
gonna sell out.
Special, unique, alternate jersey that Connor Bedard is gonna wear.
Yeah.
People are gonna want it. That's why they're charging what they're charging. People say, "Oh my God, how could you charge so much money?" Well, they're already sold out, so apparently it wasn't too much money.
Well, I mean, it's not the Blackhawks setting the price,
right? And a reminder that the Madhouse store at the United Center is open on non-game days. They open, I believe, at 10 a.m. every day. So you don't have to be going to a Hawks game to go there and pick one up if you'd rather just do that.
The Blackhawks store on Michigan Avenue.
They're available there now, according to information.
Right now, go.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure in the next week or so you'll probably be able to find them at, if you're nearby a Gunzo's or any other kind of hockey outfitter retailer. It may not be the Authentics, but they'll probably be available.
I'm going to hold out till they're at a Ross, then I'll pick one up.
I'm wondering though, like
TJ Maxx.
Is somewhere like Gunzo's or Triple Threat Sports, whatever, are they going to have the proper letters?
They might not do that
because
they might sell the blanks.
I just sent it, Nate, to you. The font on the numbers is different here. The serif on the one on the Foligno jersey is different than it is on typical Hawks jerseys.
Fancy
whereas
words.
The Hawks have the squared serifs.
Mm-hmm.
On these, they're the diagonaled. I don't know. Sounds
angled.
Right. Angled serif.
Angled.
On the, you could see it here on the one on the jersey. That is a different one than the Hawks typically have. And I'm looking, and the 7 is also different, whereas the top right corner of that 7 would typically be shaved diagonally. It is squared off,
and it's different material too.
Yeah, and it definitely appears to be that woolen material. So hopefully the one we get to see tomorrow with Jerry Ferguson has name, number, everything on it. I'm assuming probably not, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Boysen.
That's, hey, you know what? Shoot your shot. I did that with the Fanatics guy. Sent me those pictures today. I said, one of these would look great on our set. And he said, I'll see what I can do. Okay. Shoot your shot. See what happens.
Size 60.
All right, we got to hit the break zone. We'll be back with more on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. But if you're looking for the perfect way to elevate your day, at Verilife Dispensary, they have everything you need from premium cannabis products to expert advice, whether you're new to cannabis or a connoisseur. Their knowledgeable bud tenders are here to help. See what they did there? Bud tenders. With 8 convenient locations across Illinois.
Deep fried buds?
Yes.
Bud tendies.
Would that work? We'll try. Discovering your perfect experience has never been easier. Verilife proudly offers a price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. Don't miss out on their latest deals and exclusive offers only at Verilife Cannabis stores and online at verilife.com. Mention code CHGO25 in store and receive 25% off one regular price item. Restrictions apply.
Hey, speaking of sales, there's a Black Friday sales event going on all month long at Ray Chevrolet. You can score doorbuster deals on your next vehicle without door-busting stress. Head in today for their huge selection of new Chevy models with special Black Friday prices. Right now, you could take anywhere from $3,200 to $13,000 off MSRP on most new Chevy models. You could buy a lot of Winter Classic jerseys with that kind of money. Or shop over 125 of the vehicles priced under $20,000 as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the entire Midwest. You'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partner this November at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've also heard of Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. That's the promise. That means the incredible prices that we're talking about right now, you're going to see those very same prices when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. Shop today at the Black Friday sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Let's do that.
Speaking of the Winter Classic, we're still ironing out the details, but if you're going to be around for the Winter Classic, we are going to have some fun stuff planned around the event. I saw, I think it was Brandon was saying that he's coming down from Wyoming for the Winter Classic. So that'll be fun. Yeah, Brandon says, making the trip from Wyoming to the Winter Classic game. Can't wait. Tired of watching Hawks games at the Ball Arena. That's when they were playing the Avalanche there. I guess that would be the closest.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Utah and Colorado.
Utah's probably kind of close, depending on what part of Wyoming. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, fun. So if you are making the trip, either from Wyoming or further away or just, a short drive down, we'll be around. We'll have more details when they are finalized for what we're going to do. But, yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a good time.
Yes, Wrigley Field, slightly better than Ball Arena.
Enjoy the warmer temps in Chicago coming from Wyoming.
Yeah, really.
It probably.
Be a heat wave.
I also want to say hi. Met a pair of fans of the show in the parking lot today at Fifth Third. Brian and Brianna, who watch every episode.
Sweet.
He said, "Oh, he came down from LA." He actually said it that way. I'm like, there you go. That's the guy who watches the show.
That's a real fan.
So hi to Brian and Brianna. Nice. And I met Brian's wife, but I missed her name. My bad. But hi to all three of you. I hope you enjoyed practice and got some stuff signed or whatever you were looking for. But yeah, it's always cool to meet listeners and stuff. So always say hi when you see us.
Awesome.
Always. All right. A little bit of news from practice. Most importantly, the timeline for Seth Jones. Anyone want to take a guess? You guessed it. 4 weeks. The Hawks' automatic time frame for every
See you in March,
injury.
Seth.
Good Lord. I mean, I was like, oh, that's not bad. Wait a minute. That's what they said about Brossois, who I asked today.
And 8 weeks ago.
I said today, has there been a setback? And Luke said no, they're just taking their time because Soderblom's been so good. But he hasn't been on the ice the last couple days.
Here's the thing, though. I believe this was originally brought out by our pal Charlie over at WGN. Soderblom only can have 5 more starts before he's no longer waiver exempt, which means he would have to clear waivers to go to Rockford when Brossoit comes back. And the way he's playing, he ain't clearing waivers. He will be playing at the Ball Arena so Brandon could see him from Wyoming with the Avalanche in a heartbeat. Or if he even falls low, like someone's going to claim a guy with a .933 save percentage.
I would think so.
Right.
So, hey, Laurent, anytime you want to get that knee going, that'll be great. At least, like, with this whole Mrazek leaving the team for personal reasons, that kind of maybe made them nervous, but it's only one game. Soderblom was probably going to start one of these 2 games anyway.
Right,
so it's not like Mrazek's going to be gone for 4 or 5 games and accelerate that process. So just something to keep in mind as we go forward. It's probably not something they thought was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
They probably thought even if they did get to that point, that he'll easily clear waivers. But with the way he's playing and with a lot of teams out there that have playoff aspirations looking for goaltending, it's going to be a tough one to sneak by.
He'd be a guy that I think perfect for Colorado. He's very cheap.
Yep.
And he's playing really well. Like it's something you kind of
Carolina Hurricanes can't keep a goalie.
Yeah,
healthy.
now it's definitely something that's in the back of your mind now. At that when we were talking at the beginning of the season, and it was like, oh, Brossoit is probably going to miss maybe into the middle of October. Maybe Soderblom plays a game or 2. Now it's Soderblom's been playing really well, and who knows when Brossoit is going to come back.
So if the Hawks do, I just went through the schedule. If the Hawks do 2 Mrazek, 1 Soderblom, just being conservative.
Sure.
5 starts for Soderblom would be December 21st then. If we're using that 2-1
getting
formula.
to that point.
So 4 weeks?
Weird.
Yes, 4 weeks. Yep.
So,
Yeah,
and they
we'll
probably
see.
don't want to get him to that 5 because if Mrazek goes down or Brossoit suffers a setback or gets hurt again and they got to call Soderblom up again, then it's 1 or 2 starts. I don't know.
I really don't know. Unless you're I really don't know what they do if you get into that situation. Hopefully they don't have to get into that situation. But I mean, the way he's been playing, like you're still going to run him out there. You're not just going to bench him. And yeah, I mean, if you have an injury issue, like, we saw Drew Comezzo come up and set the bench, but maybe if you get into a desperate situation, he comes up and plays rather than Soderblom. And if there was a scenario where Mrazek was out or something like that. So I don't know. Hopefully they don't have to worry about it. But I think what's interesting is like, the way Soderblom's been playing and where Brossoit is at, like I'd imagine Brossoit would be able to do a conditioning stint in the AHL. I wonder if they just send him down because he's making a lot of money. He's coming off an injury. He might be someone that they actually could sneak through. Like, I know he's got a good track record. That's why they signed him. But he's making much more than Soderblom is. And he has nothing on tape this year. Yeah. And he's coming off an injury. Like, I don't know if a team would necessarily be like, oh, yoink, like, we're going to take him.
I don't know.
I'm not risking that.
I mean, it's a strange situation. Maybe this could be one of those things where you get that gentleman's agreement ahead of time. You feel the waters and say, hey, you're not going to claim him, right? Or, hey, if you don't claim him,
yeah,
we
won't claim your guy.
Yeah, something like that.
Right,
yeah. And okay, I'm glad Trevor looked up Gorgiev.
Yeah, Trevor's asking why would they want Soderblom?
Yeah. Soderblom 926 save percentage. Gorgiev 863. There's your answer.
And Ananen isn't much better with an 886.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
3.56 goals against for Georgiev. Yeah.
That's and yet
Colorado is still
it helps when you
pretty
have
darn decent.
When you have 2025 Hart Trophy winner Cale Makar on your team.
That's helpful. We got some super chats we got to get to here, Nate, before we take a break and get to Petey here in a second. I thought I saw a couple roll in there. We got one from Thomas. For $5, says, aside from the 2009 jersey, this is the best one they've done. I'm buying a Vlasic or Foligno one. That's a pretty good choice. I would go Vlasic.
Yeah, as our buddy Winnie City Hockey has been calling it, the Winter Vlasic jersey.
There you go.
Perfect. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, probably has more time with the Blackhawks left than Foligno does, and it's different than a Bedard.
Right. See, that was back in the day when I was season ticket holder and buying jerseys. I was like, I can't get a King because everybody's got one. I can't get a Taves because everybody's got one. Like that's why I was like, Christopher Stieg, it is.
Yeah, it's
all the players on the trade.
I was talking to Mario today. I said in all the jerseys I've ever owned, I never had a Roenick because even though he was my favorite all time player, I'm like, I don't want to have the jersey everybody has.
Yeah.
So I always had to go something weird. Like I had Probert and I had Steve Sullivan and I had Rutu and I had like all sorts of different ones.
You could get a Winter Classic of all those players.
All of them.
They're available as
all
the
7 Ryan Vandenbush numbers.
Alumni pages on the Blackhawks store.
And BJD says, when's the next takeover? Deciding if I want to see them get housed by Florida tomorrow since tickets are $25. Next takeover will be in January. We're not ready to completely announce all the details yet.
January.
But January.
January, maybe there's a current Blackhawk that might be looking to do good against his former team that night. Just saying.
So it's a team that someone on the team has played for before.
Right.
That narrows it down.
It kind of does.
A little bit.
Wait, who do they play?
So before we get to the break zone, let's go over the lines today.
Forget who they play. Oh, I remember.
Yes.
Never mind.
The team that one guy used to play for.
Yes.
I got it.
The lines today, top line unchanged, Dickinson, Bedard, Anderson. Second line was Donato, Hall, and Teravainen. Mario. Foligno, Mikheyev, and Bertuzzi.
What did I say?
Reichel, Maroon, and Smith with Philip Kurashev rotating in.
Oh.
And your D pairs were Vlasic and Murphy, Allen and Martinez, Kaiser and Brody. Asked about today, I asked Luke if Kurashev was sitting. And he was kind of non-committal. He was saying, we're just trying to get everybody moving forward, and we're mixing up a lot of stuff. If I'm betting, I think Philip Kurashev is sitting tomorrow.
Luke's answer of we were just rotating everybody in. Kurashev was the only one coming in and out.
He was the only one.
So yes. And he also wasn't on the second power play unit.
Yeah, he's not.
Craig Smith and Pat Maroon were.
He's not playing. And I got no issue with that. Kurashev, we've talked about it last night. We've talked about it too many nights. He's not
the guy he was last year.
Yeah, no. Him and Lucas Reichel have switched bodies this year somehow.
Apparently.
I mean, because he's had that Reichel line too many times of
Non-factor.
No shots on goal, one shot attempt, and nothing all across the stat page.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have more from him at the risk of sounding like the former coach.
Need more.
We need more from Philip Kurashev.
Need better dumps.
He has been. I mean, there's so many disappointments so far this season, but I gotta say,
it'd be easier to name who has played up to expectations than who has.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the show is over, but he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, disappointment so far.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy who, even if you take away the offense, like, the numbers aren't there, because guess what? The numbers aren't there for anyone.
Right.
He's just not noticeable. He made two decent defensive plays in one shift last night, and that was the only time I noticed him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of floating out there. And again, he's not the only one, but that's a guy who you were sort of counting on to provide some offense this year, some depth offense, which this team desperately needs. And he's gotten every opportunity to get it and just hasn't.
Yeah, being in your top 6, like that's a guy that you expected to be there and rely on, and that was the reason he was scratched earlier in the year. Was Luke was just saying, like, last year he was a guy I didn't have to worry about, and now I haven't been able to rely on him, and I think it's kind of cycling around again. Like, it's just this up and down with him, and the ups aren't as high as they were last year, and the downs are a lot worse. So it's been rough. And people in the chat, no, Louis Crevier is not in the lineup. TJ Brody is.
All right. We are going to talk to Petey. He is standing by. He's going to break down both Blackhawks goals from last night and just talk some hockey with us. That's coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks.
And we are sponsored by the Chicago Sports Network, also known as CHSN. The new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games, CHSN is broadcasting more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and features a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They are Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core, and CHSN is bringing it to every corner of Chicago across their 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long.
Yes, and while you're watching Hawks games, you might find it a good opportunity to choose chill. And when you do, there's no better accessory than a frosty cold Coors Light. It is the perfect thing when you're choosing chill because it's mountain cold refreshment. You know that by now. And you know you can order Coors Light while you're watching the Hawks and Panthers,
So I've heard.
if you're able to see it, with Instacart. You can go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO hockey.
/biz?
No, that's different.
Oh, sorry.
So you're starting to get it.
My bad.
You'll get those ice blue mountains in those cans, and that means it's as cold as the Rockies. So when you embrace a chill mindset, choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Again, get it delivered right away to your door right now or at game time tomorrow. CoorsLight.com/CHGO hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And with that, it's time to bring in our buddy, Steve Peters from ALLCITY, from PHNX, our
Speaking of Golden,
favorite and the world's best hockey analyst. What's up, Petey?
Wow. That's a good introduction. I'm just sitting along being frustrated with Chicago Blackhawks fans watching this hockey team. And I feel for you guys because this was the year to take the step forward and do better. And it's not happening.
How much have you been able to actually consume an entire Hawks game?
I watched last night. So,
Great.
some.
So here's what's been frustrating us all season long, because last night was very much a copy paste of the entire season. First period, passes are crisp, team looks organized, things are going well, they're in control, they're out shooting, they're controlling the play, and then all of a sudden, about halfway through the game, everything changes. How does that keep happening? How does it keep slipping out of their hands like that?
You know, it's funny now, and it's funny because I listened to your post-game show last night, and you're talking about how this is just repeat. It's repeat. Put it on repeat. And people aren't going to want to hear this, but this looks like a team that stopped believing. And when you have no belief in your team, your structure, your coach, your line mate, your teammate, you can't win. You can't. You're just waiting for something bad to happen. That's Chicago right now. And it's not when they give up a goal. It's like, hey, we'll battle back. We're going to get this next one. It's like, oh, no, here we go again. You can see the body language. It's really hard to get out of that habit of losing. It breeds losers. And it's just, I've been there. When I worked for the Arizona Coyotes, I've been in these 15, 16 game losing slumps, and you can't get out of them. And you're waiting for something bad to happen. And that's what Chicago looks like right now. They're just waiting for something bad because this team on paper should be better than that. They should have the guys that can go, okay, I'm Bertuzzi. I've got energy and speed. I'm going to get us out of this. Or I'm Taylor Hall. I have skill. I'll get us out of this. Or Foligno, I've got experience and veteran leadership, and I'm going to get us out of this. But they all just slump their shoulders, and they just go, well, here we go again. Not my fault. And it's incredibly frustrating because once you get in the cycle, it is incredibly hard to get out of this. And right now they're looking to one guy to do it. And unfortunately for this team, it's the wrong guy. Like you're looking at 98. 98 can't save everything. He just can't. He needs to have people around him. Even he is looking frustrated and defeated and deflated. And when you get that for a player that you need to lead you to the next Stanley Cup, you're in big trouble, because once you get a guy like that to stop believing, you're in trouble.
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to check out what Ben Pope wrote today, but he talked to Teuvo Teravainen. Here's what Teuvo said today. We're getting less confident for sure. Nobody is really scoring. It's hard to get a goal. It's hard to even get power plays. We haven't created a lot of chances. It is frustrating. And we said last night, he got a vote of confidence early in November from Kyle Davidson, but a lot has changed since November 3rd when Davidson and Ben Pope spoke. If they fired Luke Richardson today, I would not bat an eye because it does feel like, I don't want to say the room has been lost, but everything that Richardson has tried has not worked.
Yeah, it is going to come back to the coach. And this is again, I can only go back to my experiences. I've been in those rooms, and it's every morning you wake up going, is the coach getting fired today? I guarantee it. They won't talk about it because I heard how well they do with Mario post game. They've got their answers. They'll never say it. Nobody will ever breathe that word in the locker room, but they're all thinking it. They are, because this is the point of no return. How many more line combinations can they play with? Like, who else can you try playing with? Who? Like, they've done it. They jumbled the lines again today. I think they're still trying to find that chemistry, and I hope it's in that room. I still believe in some of those players there, but you're at the point now, and this is just sincere. You guys said it. It doesn't matter. Like, this team is not going to make the playoffs. So if I'm management, I'm looking, gosh, I can get another top 3 draft pick this year with all the young guys I got playing this well in Rockford, and Bedard's still there. Maybe it's okay if we lose a few more. The problem with that attitude, it's not wrong getting that player. It's what we just talked about, that belief. What can happen to a room over the next 6 months is that can last for years if you start believing losing is okay. And especially when you see your best players, your future players, Connor Bedard, getting frustrated and losing his little spark, his little jam. He loses that. It's getting very, 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 very close to time for Luke to go. Not that he's a bad coach. You just need something different.
Well, and we saw it, the last couple of games, last couple of practices, Bedard, talking to him after games and stuff, or talking to him after practices. Like, I think the frustration is obviously visible. Then he comes out, plays with Jason Dickinson, gets 2 assists. Like, they look like they're buzzing. Like, he looks like he's having a good game. They ended up blowing the 2-1 lead last night. Talk in the locker room after the game, and he just doesn't have answers. He just doesn't have anything different. There's not much for him to say. Again, he's 19. Like, it's a lot, like you said, it's a lot to put squarely on his shoulders. But it's like he's just going out and trying to play hockey. And we've talked about it before. This is probably very, very likely, willing to bet, this is the most losing he's endured in one season of playing hockey, probably in his entire life. And go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm just sorry. I'm looking at the line mate you put him in there with, and for him to get that little, you saw glimpses of Connor Bedard again last night, and I'm not being hard on this kid. He's an elite player. He is one of the best players in this league, if not the best young player in the game, period. However, this season, you didn't see it last year, but you've seen those little glimpses of the shoulders dropping, and during the play when things are going on, he's like that little dejection. You can't have that from him. And when he played last night with Dickinson and Joey Anderson, he got the puck because those guys got him the puck. They won the wall battles. They did the dirty work. They did the hard work. Get Connor Bedard the puck. That's the game plan. Get him the puck. Joey Anderson knew that. Joey Anderson's career best is 5 goals in the National Hockey League. Like, he's not the guy that needs to be on Connor Bedard's wing. He's not. Sorry. That's not the guy that's going to get you to the promised land. But for today and maybe tomorrow, he's a guy that at least is going to get Connor Bedard the puck. And if you make Connor Bedard happy, he's going to end up on the score sheet. You get on the score sheet, you might have a chance to win.
You've been around, you've been on NHL staffs and around enough professional teams. When you got a team like this that's, as you said, just not believing anymore, struggling to score goals, how about bringing up a kid from Rockford does that do anything for that room? Say, we got Frank Nazar down in Rockford lighting it up, 7 goals, 15 points in 12 games. I know they want development, patience, all that stuff, but when does the plan change because the NHL team can't score? You got a young guy that can score. How does that change the dynamic in the room if you bring up a kid like that?
I think you need to. And if you're not willing to fire the head coach and you want him to make it to the end of the season, you better do something. Because we talked about that spark, and I worked for the Coyotes back in the late 90s before the salary cap. If it was this bad, someone was getting traded. Like people got traded back in those days before the cap, and you had to juggle everything. They got traded to get traded, to change the feeling in the room. Can't do that now because the way the cap is, you just can't juggle things like that. So you got to do something. And the way they're playing right now, and you look at Nazar, 15 points in 12 games. But if you put him in your lineup, well, a couple things are going to happen. Connor Bedard's going to be excited as heck, like because he's going to look on his side and go, "Oh my gosh, here's another high-skilled guy that can play, that can actually put points up." I'm excited again. When we just talked about making Connor Bedard happy. That's a good thing. Secondly, you're going to get an old guy that's going to have to come out of the lineup. Old guys don't like coming out of the lineup because this is how they feed their family. This is how their job. They're thinking about their next mortgage. Frank Nazar's not worried about his mortgage. He wants to play. So now you got a guy on the bench going, this is real. Like, I need to perform better if I want to actually play and continue my journey in this league. So I think it does more than just send a message to the team. There's so many facets to getting that spark and that young speed up there. And I listened to you last night, Greg. Why one? Why not bring 2 or 3 guys? And I know that gets difficult because you got to manage the cap and you got so many contracts and guys won't clear waivers. And at this point, if you're Chicago, if somebody doesn't clear waivers, like who are you really going to lose? Somebody sent it. I'm like, And I do think that it's more important to get that spark. And I'm doing everything in Chicago's future for Connor Bedard. Everything. Because let's face it, that's what it's like Connor McDavid in Edmonton. Everything is structured around Connor Bedard. If you don't make Connor Bedard happy and you get him frustrated and angry, a team's never going to win, and they're not going to win in the future. So if bringing young, skilled, talented offensive players up to play around him, you watch how much better he is going to become by having those kind of players around him. I think if you're not going to fire the coach, you got to call somebody up.
This is outstanding stuff, Petey, and I'm really glad we went here with you before we get to the video breakdown. And there's so much more I want to ask you, just because of all your experience. Like, when you bring in guys, and look, like Pat Maroon, Alec Martinez, Craig Smith, all these guys have great reputations as team players, warriors, guys that play the game right, but is there something to be said about them joining a team they know isn't good, knowing that the end game for them is probably to get traded at the deadline? They don't necessarily have to buy in. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, they don't really have a connection to this team. They're not going to go to war for the logo like Chris Chelios did in the past or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, Pat Maroon knows he's here for a few months and then he gets traded to a contender. Same with Craig Smith. Maybe the same with Alec Martinez. So why would they go out of their way and bust their ass and give everything they've got for a team that's not good, that's not going anywhere, and they're not going to be part of their future? Is that like a risk you have to, as a GM, you have to consider?
It is, and you want to have those guys like Pat Maroon that's won a Stanley Cup. You want that guy in your room. You do, because they understand what the journey takes to get to the ultimate, and that's win a Stanley Cup. Unfortunately for Pat Maroon, when he won those Stanley Cups, Pat Maroon was a small piece, yet albeit a piece of the puzzle in Tampa and St. Louis, but he's just a small piece. He's the little extra that gives you a little extra bump and jump. He's not the main driving force that drove St. Louis or Tampa to the Cups. He's not. He's the extra guy. He needs a surrounding cast of high-skilled, deep team, and he can be the guy that, hey, yeah, I'll come out and I'll hit a few guys. I'll bring a little energy in the bottom 6 of our lineup and bring some excitement, but he can't get you over the hump. It's not good enough. A nice player, but he's not good enough. And I think that's what you saw from all of those. Alec Martinez, same thing. Just one small piece of the puzzle. If you're going to have a small piece of the puzzle, they have to bring a lot to the table on a team like Chicago. And they just don't have it. Even Bertuzzi. Like, I talked a lot about Bertuzzi in Toronto last year. He's a guy, I'll just be honest, I didn't love the move of him in Toronto. I didn't think he was the guy that they needed in their lineup to help them get over. And I look in Chicago, Bertuzzi's a role player. Chicago doesn't need a role player. It's not going to help them get over. They need Foligno works because Foligno's work ethic is his off-ice training, what the person brings to the room as a person, I think it outweighs what he can do on the ice, even though he's just an experienced player and he plays the right way. I just think that's so much more important for these young players to have that role model to follow. And we're not talking about Taylor Hall, because I'm not going to do that, but that's the kind of, if you're going to have experienced players, get that guy. Pat Maroon's not that guy. I like him, role player, but he's not that guy. And so now you're to the point in the season, now you're looking around going, oh, now what? Now what? This little plan didn't pan out. And that's where you guys nailed it. Like, it's now, okay, these guys got to come up here and learn. We're going to lose anyway. So does Frank Nazar, is he going to be better off right now playing 50, 60 games in the National Hockey League at an incredibly high pace and learning from his mistakes? In some situations, I say no. I do. I say let him sit and let him cook and let him, get their time in the American League. I believe in that. This isn't one of those times because right now this team, for their future, get them playing with Bedard. Do you think those two guys could play 60 games together and not put up numbers? They might not win, but they'll put up numbers. And then you go, okay, next season, they're coming in as our top two guys. We'll shuffle guys into the third spot. But now you imagine how excited they're going to be coming into October next year? Good grief. Why not start building that now?
All right. Last thing before we get to the video breakdown. Again, as a guy who's worked in the league, Jim Montgomery was just fired by Boston. He is obviously the top coaching candidate available in the entire hockey world right now. Would he have any interest at this point in his career to come to a rebuild and help steer this thing forward? We don't seem to think that's a possibility.
Zero chance.
Right.
Zero.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you where he's going to end up. And I think this should have been a 1-for-1 trade. It should have been Mike Sullivan for Jim Montgomery straight up. They should have just switched franchises, gone down the highway. Mike Sullivan belongs in Boston. Boston guy, knows the team, knows the franchise, loves the city. Jim Montgomery can help coach superstars and help give them a little bit jump. Just trade him. Unfortunately, people want to hear this in Chicago. You're not getting that guy. You're not. This team isn't in a spot where that's going to happen, and they're not ready for him. Like, here's what I think. They need a bridge coach. Like, you need a bridge player. You need a bridge coach to get you to the guy that's going to get you a Stanley Cup. Now, Jim Montgomery might be the guy, but that's in 3 years. It's not today. Today, people aren't – I know they like Luke Richardson. He's the guy that was there to be the guy that gets this rebuild started, a guy that's okay with losing because he's happy to be in the league, a guy that the players like to be around. He's a popular guy. He's a fun guy. But he's the guy to get you started in the rebuild. Now you need that guy to take the next step, and it's going to have to be somebody a little bit tougher, a little bit harder, and players aren't going to like that. It's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. And of the people that I think are out there right now, I look at Todd McClellan. I know people say Jay Woodcroft, but Jay learned under Todd, so go to Todd. Like Todd McClellan, would he take that job in Chicago? I think he would. He coached McDavid and Draisaitl. He's got that experience of coaching a really talented person. I think there's some attractive things for a player, for a coach like Todd McClellan, and I think he's the next guy. He can be a little bit tougher on him. His expectations can be raised a little bit higher, and look around the room and go, "Oh, this is a little bit harder than we're used to." Good system guy. Brought the 1-1-3 to LA. They defended much better with the 1-1-3 than they did before in the 1-2-2. X's and O's, I think he's the guy. So I'm going to put that out in the universe right now. I think Todd McClellan's the next coach.
All right.
Wow, that's stunned silence.
No,
wow.
It's great. It's just, I can't believe it's November 20th and we're here already.
I know, but you expected to lose. Like, everybody expected Chicago to lose. There was nobody that thought Chicago was a playoff team. Oh, we talked about it a little bit, that if all things fell into place, maybe. But now you're 20 games in, you have no chance. You're last place in the entire league right now. This year is over, done. So what are you going to do to move forward? So I would have never thought that they would be looking at firing Luke Richardson. I didn't. I thought they'll give him through the end of the year. They'll be mediocre. They'll finish 26th or 27th. It'll be fine. He'll finish last, and then they'll address it in the summer. I personally don't know if you can wait that long. I don't know. Like, how much, when you see the body language as bad as you're seeing it on the Chicago bench, I get worried that you're going to have to shake things up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been, most of this season, patience. We've seen enough small samples of the good stuff to be like, let's give him the shot to right the ship, but it just doesn't seem that that's in the cards right now. So I still, unless things stay where they are right now of 1 goal a game, another loss for the next couple of weeks, I still think they give him the rest of the season to try and figure it out. But if it doesn't change soon, something's got to give.
It's only going to get louder and worse.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
that's why you bring in Nazar. It'll deflect. Right. It'll deflect all of that. Because guess what we're talking about tomorrow? We're not talking about Luke Richardson. We're talking about Frank Nazar. So I think that's the move they should make. If not today, they should do it tomorrow.
And that's something else. I started the season like keep him down there as long as possible. But again, as I said last night, if this team had 22 points and was averaging 3 goals a game, no, leave Nazar where he's at. But you're not doing any of that. You're not winning. You're not scoring. you need to inject some life into this because you've got not only players that are looking like they've lost belief, but you got a fan base that's doing it too. And half the city can't see this team on TV. You're in danger of losing this fan base too with an exciting young player like Connor Bedard. You can't allow that to happen either. You've got to do something to inject life into this team to make them interesting again, because they're not right now.
Isn't it funny how history repeats itself? These are the exact same things you heard about Chicago before they won their last Stanley Cup. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, can't wait for the Stanley Cup in 6 years.
All right. Well,
there you go.
Breaking: Steve Peters predicts Chicago Blackhawks Stanley Cup soon.
There you go.
All right. Let's have some fun. Let's live in some of the good moments of yesterday's game, because there were a couple, and we all sort of scoffed at the Dickinson, Bedard, and Anderson line. But it worked, at least for one night against not a great opponent. What did you see last night from that trio?
It is, and I talked about Connor Bedard being excited because he got the puck. Why did he get the puck? Because he played with two guys that worked incredibly hard to get him the puck. When that line was on the ice, you talked about Chicago not winning wall battles and turning puck over. This line didn't do that. They were in the offensive zone a lot, and when they weren't, they fought to get the puck back. They were great again. They're great along the walls, like really, really good along the walls. And on the forecheck, they were able to keep the puck in and have offensive zone time. So I think winning wall battles was the key to this line. And as always, it's Connor Bedard.
All right, let's fire up the video.
Why is the Bedard, Dickinson, Anderson line so successful? Well, they win puck races and they're great along the wall. Let's start with the first goal of the game against Anaheim. It starts with Bedard in the defensive zone, making a really good play down the wall. He's able to make contact, separate the Anaheim player from the puck, and gain possession. Well, he dumps the puck out to center ice, and again, it's foot races. Dickinson's able to win the foot race to the puck and get the puck into the zone. Once the puck's in the zone, he wins a wall battle. And this line has been so good about winning battles along the wall. He wins the wall battle, and he's able to get the puck behind the net. Again, to who? Bedard. Bedard is great at protecting the puck. He's great at making plays in behind. He's got a great job, and he gets the puck over to the weak side of the ice after protecting the puck along the wall. Now it's up to the defense. We're going to talk a lot about the defense pitching for the Chicago Blackhawks. This time it's TJ Brodie. Brodie comes in off of the blue line, pinches, and what does that do? It keeps the puck in the offensive zone. He wins another wall battle. And after he wins the wall battle, now it's up to Dickinson. This is where Dickinson shines. He gets in, he recovers the puck along the wall, and he gets the puck back to Bedard. And once Bedard has the puck, Bedard's able to get the puck to the middle of the ice. He drives the middle of the ice where the open area is. And now it's what Bedard does. Bedard's look people off. Bedard looks at the net. He looks to Gibson. He's going to shoot, right? Well, that's what Anaheim defenders think, because they all come to Bedard. But when they come to Bedard, that opens up all of this ice in behind to Dickinson. Bedard makes a world-class pass through people. Dickinson takes the one-timer and gets his third goal of the season. Well, this line more along the walls and more foot battles on the second goal. This time it's Anderson getting in on the forecheck, which allows Dickinson to take the walls, win another wall battle. And as that happens, Anderson's able to throw the puck to the weak side. And here we talk about the defenseman pinching again. This time it's Murphy. Murphy gets down the wall and he wins another puck battle. And he dumps the puck off to Bedard, who gets the puck to the weak side. You seeing a familiar theme? On the weak side, another puck battle, this time by Anderson. Gets the puck back to Bedard. Bedard goes to the weak side. Look at all of the ice Dickinson has to the front of the net. He just has to beat his defenders off the wall, again, using his speed. And then great pass again from Bedard to Dickinson. This time Dickinson drives this home for his fourth goal of the season. Oh, but one more detail. Let's talk about the eyes of Connor Bedard again. This time as he comes around the net, he takes a quick look. So he knows that Dickinson is coming. But as he travels up the wall, now he's looking to the defense. He pulls all of the players for the Anaheim Ducks, thinking that he's going to the point. It's going to be a point shot. He looks to the wall, but he passes the puck to the inside, which allows Dickinson to have a little bit extra room and a little bit extra time for his fourth goal of the season.
It's great stuff. And that look off, man, I don't know how I did it, but I caught that live, and I immediately, in the press box, we have four little TVs,
You
like
did that in
little
the press box?
Sanyos. Yeah,
Wow.
we're fancy.
Yeah, nice.
Free gummy bears, baby.
Wow.
But we had like 4 little Sanyo TVs on the ceiling, and
Nice.
it's delayed. So I'm looking up, mouth agape, like, did he just do it? I think he did. Yeah, that was. It's so subtle, and if you watch the replay, it's just a split second where he just goes, and you could see the Ducks go, "Oh God," because even though he's not putting the puck in the net, Bedard still is striking fear in the opponent. And now that he's getting results from his line mates, Jason Dickinson, he's going to get a little more space now because now there's someone else that they have to be mindful of.
It's fun though, but look again. I said he looked like he was having fun. That's what Connor Bedard. I don't think Connor Bedard cares who he plays with, but he just wants to play with players that A, can get him the puck, and B, have a chance to score. So I don't think the number of the sweater next to him matters. It's just he wants players that want to play. And last night it was Dickinson and Anderson, and I think you saw Connor Bedard. Some glimpses again of him having fun. I think it's really important that a player like Connor Bedard has fun out there and also thinks he has a chance to contribute and, more importantly, has a chance to win.
Well, he was asked about the lines last week, and he kind of rolled his eyes and said, "This is like the 10th day in a row you guys have asked about the lines." He kind of poo-pooed it a little bit. So yeah, it doesn't seem to matter to him.
He says he doesn't care, but on the ice, results show that there is a difference between who he plays with. And before the game yesterday, talking with Joey Anderson, he gave a little shout out to Dickinson about how the little details of his game make the difference and allow players to bring the best out of themselves when they play with him. It seems like since Jason Dickinson has been in Chicago, anytime a player is needed to find their game, when they play with him, they find it, and he benefits from it as well. We saw it with him and Foligno the last year were awesome together. Anytime he was with Reichel, it was like, oh, Reichel had a decent game. Now you put him with Connor Bedard, and things happen like instantly. I just think like in a season where so many things have shuffled around Bedard, I know it's one game, it's one sample size. Not every game is going to be like that where those two hook up for multiple points a night or whatnot. Maybe it will. That'd be awesome.
Take it.
But at least like you can take that game and be like, all right, do it again. Like it's finally you have something with Bedard where you can put your stamp on it and say that clearly worked. Their games complement each other. Do it again.
I noticed early last night, and this is part of the advantage of being able to sit up top as opposed to just watching it on TV. In those first couple of shifts, Bedard out there, and now no longer on center, playing with two guys, as you said, so good along the boards and along the wall. They were both times in the first two shifts, he's already cheating out the zone at center ice because he knows those guys are going to give him the puck. We haven't seen that at all this year. How much of that is with the line mates, or how much of that has to do with the fact that he's on the wing now and knows he could float a little bit more and take some risks?
I think it's both, and it's funny because if we could have shown video instead of stills on that first goal, he's outside the blue line. Like he is outside, he's ready to go. Like he's ready to jump and make that offensive play, but he has to come back and defend. Connor Bedard around the blue line in the defensive zone is incredibly dangerous, and he's incredibly good because he wants what all goal scorers want. He wants a puck. So if the puck comes up high in the zone and it's going past from defenseman to defenseman, Connor Bedard's got a very good chance of stealing that puck because he wants a puck. So he's good in that area of the ice. But as a centerman, you're so responsible for defending in different spots and defending down low between the dots and down between the hash mark. Why would you want Connor Bedard doing that? One, you don't want to expend his energy down that low in the zone, and let's let the pony run. Like, let him go. And I think you did see that last night. Do I think Jason Dickinson and Joey Anderson is the answer forever for Connor Bedard? No. But if it gives him a little jump, I know, Blackhawks fans are rolling over it. But for right now, hey, if it gets him going again, I think it's great. And I would say he might play with Dickinson for a little while. I think Joey Anderson, we always talk about pairs of lines, and I think Bedard and Dickinson may survive a little bit longer with someone else on that other side, but we'll see.
Petr, you're the best, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me. Good luck tomorrow against Florida. Good luck.
Guaranteed win, my friend.
Yeah. There you go.
8-0 Hawks. All right.
That's the game they're going to win because no one expects them to.
Exactly.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Steve Peters from the All-City Network and PHNX. Follow him on Twitter at @SPetersHockey. Easy to find. Great stuff. That entire last half hour was dynamite. Great stuff. More like that when you're a diehard at allchgo.com. You get that from every beat. I know the Bears beat had Brian Baldinger on today. There's always at Will Purdue's part of our Bulls cast. Like, you want the best experts. You want the people that are plugged in. Alex Brown, Lance Briggs. They're here several times a week breaking down Bears. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
We got Alex Vlasic as part of our show here. This is what we bring you. So become a diehard. Support us. Get yourself some merch. Get yourself some gear. 20% off all of our merch. 20% off our takeovers, our events. Whatever happens around the Winter Classic, it'll be 20% off.
Yeah.
Our upcoming takeover, which is going to be very, very sweet, 20% off. You're definitely going to want to become a diehard and take advantage of these things. You get a free shirt right away. You attend an event or two, boom, it pays for itself, and you get access to all of our great written content. It's a great deal, and it keeps us moving, and we really, really appreciate your support. Those of you that have been diehards from the start, those of you on the fence, we'd love to have you. And yeah, you get into our members-only Discord as well. Every beat's got their own page, and we just launched a new show yesterday with Greg and Big Dave, CHGO Wrestling.
Yeah,
pretty big.
We'll be a lot of us will be taking part of that. That's not an exclusive show, but yeah, we had Tony Khan, the owner and founder of AEW Wrestling, on. So check that out on the YouTube page, and we're actually going to have AEW star Ricochet stop by next week for another interview.
Will he have accompaniment?
I don't know. Why does everybody ask me that?
Everyone asks.
Nobody cares about Ricochet. They want to bring somebody else.
I volunteered to get Hurricane Rana on set. I will sacrifice my body.
If you ask me that question one more time, I'm going to Hurricane Rana you.
But I just want to know. Boy, those tables downstairs will be filthy when that happens. Oh, boy. I'm just, I like all sort. I would like to know the insight from a ring announcer. What goes into that experience? I don't know what it could be. Finkelman is dead.
It's amazing how many of our male coworkers love ring announcers.
They're wonderful.
Yes.
You can't have a match without one.
You kind of can't.
You can't.
You'd have no idea who was wrestling.
Technically, you can't have a match without the person that rings the bell.
Well, that's true too. See? All right, we got a super chat we got to get from Brandon Clemens, who says, what are your thoughts on Nazar coming up and being the center for Bedard to play wing? We are all on board for Nazar coming up. I think PD just kind of solidified that.
Dickinson, Bedard.
I love it. Yeah, I love that. But we'll see. By the way, I'm writing that for Blackhawks Beat, which will be out in my newsletter tomorrow. So we'll see. I think that is something that something has to give here. It's got to be a trade. It's got to be a call-up. It's got to be a firing. You can't just sit here and do nothing.
Or it could be all of them.
It could be all of them.
It could be all of them.
One, two, or three of those options.
The easiest thing to do is say, our best prospect is playing great. Come up. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work after 5 games, fine. Frank Nazar is not going to have his confidence shattered.
Right.
By getting sent down.
Yeah, you don't have to say like, hey, come fix our season.
No.
It's hey, come do something different.
Be you.
Do what you're doing down there up here.
Yeah. And if you're here for, like you said, if you're here for 5 games or you're here for 50, like that'll just be up to how you play, not what we need you to do above expectation. Like just it's getting frustrating. And we all know and agree about patience with the rebuild. Bringing these guys up is not about ruining the rebuild or ruining any of these plans. It's about injecting life in this team right now. And as PZ said, it is because your most important player right now in the NHL is Connor Bedard. The most important player in your franchise right now is Connor Bedard. And things are not going well for him right now. So you got to do something for him. It's not about this team was supposed to contend and they got to flip the season around and get back up the standings. It's about Connor Bedard needs to get going again. And I loved how he played with Jason Dickinson. There's a lot of guys on this roster that are good NHL players. I think it's becoming more evident as the season goes on, they're not the right guys for Bedard. And whether it's just he needs guys that know how to talk like a Gen Alpha person, like they just need other 20-year-olds in there, fine. Like youthen up the locker room and let that go. Sure. Like it's got to be something different. You can't keep running the same thing out
day after day and expect things to miraculously change.
And I think that's when PD's talking about players like nothing's working. Do something.
Right.
They're looking to. We've all been in situations and jobs where you're looking at your leadership. Like, can you do something to help us here?
Right.
Can you do something to make this better? Please, please, please. We're begging you to lead us. And I'm not saying, again, Luke's systems are fine. What he says makes sense. He's not like Jeremy Colleton, where it's like, what is this? But for whatever reason, the message is lost and the answers are not working. And something has to give. The easiest thing to do first is to call somebody up.
You can't fire 18 players.
You can't, but you can fire one temporarily to call up your best prospect.
That's your first move here.
Yep.
Is call up one of these guys from Rockford who are performing.
Yes.
Yep. And play the style that this team is missing.
Frank Nazar is ready for the NHL.
Yes.
Sure, it's been 12 games in the AHL, but they've been 12 consistent, really good games. It's not like he had one 6-point game and one 4-point game and has been invisible the other 10. He's been really good for 12 games in a row.
And frankly, on a team that's not really kicking ass either.
No, not at all.
Right. Yeah. And we saw 3 great games from him last year where he looked immediately ready. Preseason was kind of hit or miss, but the entire team was.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's ready. And here's the beauty part. If he's not, he can go back down. So what is there to lose?
Just another game.
Besides another game.
And you're already doing that.
Yeah, what else are you losing?
Lose 5-2 instead of 5-1. Yeah. All right, we're going to be back tomorrow post-game after Hawks and Panthers. Greg Boysen on the record guaranteeing victory.
Sure. Why the hell not? Who cares?
Yes. All right.
Why the hell not?
The internet's forever for now. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow after Hawks and Panthers right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the man.